Huh, Chris. A-Hole Productions. Alright, so we'll watch this opening cutscene and then we'll talk a little bit afterwards, and we'll get into the topic tonight, which is the George Romero Resident Evil movie. That'll be the first thing we discuss tonight.
Situated in northwest Raccoon City, where we are
Alright, and Robbie voted for stars also. Stars it is.
Bravo team, who disappeared during the middle of their mission. Bizarre murder cases have recently occurred in Raccoon City. There are outlandish reports of families being attacked by a group of about 10 people. Victims
were apparently eaten.
The Bravo team was sent in to investigate, but we lost contact.
Look, Chris.
Bravo team's...
let's see, we got, Roddy says in the chat, I love playing Black Panther, Storm, Cap, and weirdly enough, Hawkeye. Oh, there's nothing weird about playing as Hawkeye, man. Hawkeye's awesome. He's not just a bow and arrow dude. I always liked Hawkeye, and I was never an Avengers kid growing up. When I was a kid, it was you either liked Avengers or X-Men, and I was more of an X-Men kid. But Hawkeye I always liked. I liked him because if he felt Captain America was out of line, he would say something. He was like the only one who stood up to Cap for a while there, and that was pretty cool. And what do you got? Martian Cat says Punisher, Loki, Gambit, and tonight I started leveling Black Widow. Nice, awesome. Yeah, I'm a big Punisher fan too. I love Frank Castle. Really broken human being. I really like the take they did on him in Netflix series, the Daredevil series. I thought that was good. All right, so George Romero. So back, I think it was in the late 90s. I want to say it was 1998 when Resident Evil 2 came out. If any of you bought the first edition of Resident Evil 2, before they did like the DX version or whatever that was, and it had like the battle mode mini game that they added onto it and stuff. I think the first version, it had this red like sticker kind of thing, blood splat on the cover, and it said, you know, pick up a copy of Resident Evil 2 today, and you could win a chance to be in the Resident Evil movie. So they were planning this movie really early on. Constantine or Constantin or however you pronounce it, Films bought the rights pretty early, and you know, as the second game was gearing up, and since George Romero directed like 2 Japanese commercials to promote the video game in Japan, I don't think those commercials ever made it to the U.S., but those are one of the first things I hunted down on the internet. And I think back then I had this device called Web TV, if any of you guys remember that, and I was looking up Resident Evil stuff on Web TV, which is pretty fun, and then talking to my friends on AOL Instant Messenger about any information I could find. So yeah, so the movie, they announced it, you know, with the game. They wanted to get hype up on the second game and wanted to get sales up and make sure it was a hit, and then also offer a fan a chance to be a zombie. I think they picked a winner of that contest, but to my knowledge, I don't think that person ever made it into the live-action movie, because I think that was something to do with just the George Romero version of the movie. But I could be wrong. And if anyone in the chat knows, feel free to let me know. And real quick, I'll do a sidestep here on the story since I talked over some of that cutscene. Obviously, we went to look for our compatriots on the Bravo team.
Not quite your ordinary house.
Their helicopter crashed. We found just the body of their pilot, all eaten up by dogs. Then Joseph got killed, and then now we're, you know, made our way to this mansion, and our pilot Brad, Brad Chicken Shit Vickers, according to the novels, he took off and left us behind.
I'm going with her.
And now we can't find Chris, our buddy.
I go back a long way.
All right.
So the movie, the Resident Evil movie with George Romero, he had done the commercials and he had written this script that I guess just wasn't well received from Sony. I mean, it was turned in and it was, you know, it was circulating around, but it although it was more true, I would say, to the game than the movie they ended up making, it still deviated a lot. And actually, hold on real quick. In the chat, Roddy agrees about the Hawkeye stuff. Me too, loved Hawkeye for the same reasons. Hawkeye idolized Cap, but still got in his face when he felt needed. Absolutely. Hawkeye's pretty cool, especially in the comics. In the movies, I mean, they can only do so much with him in the movies. They kind of, he's like a background character. But
what is it?
So in this script, and anyone in the chat that you know, if you've read the script or know about it, and you want to throw your favorite part of the script into the chat, and we can use that as a jumping off point for conversation. I just remember the one thing I really remember clearly was that Chris Redfield and Jill Valentine were they were like a love interest there. Like, she was a member of STARS, but Chris wasn't. I think Chris was like half Native American, and he lived out in the Arklay Forest, and he'd like talk to eagles and stuff or something. And then the STARS team goes missing, and he's like, all right, I want to go in and find, you know, my girlfriend. And then with as far as I know, no like police training of any kind, and then goes in and ends up meeting the STARS team, and they work their way through the mansion. And I think Forrest and a couple other characters had bigger parts than they do in this game. Yeah, that's it. Robbie says in the chat, Chris was a falconer. That's right. Yeah, he talked to falcons, and that was a theme that reoccurred through the story and came back at the end, like at the end of the after they like destroy the mansion or whatever. Oh, those milky white eyes of that zombie, just intense. Oh. You know what? Actually, I don't need to fight this one, right? Because I think Barry takes care of it. I was going to try to stab it to death like I did with Chris yesterday, but I forgot about these extra cutscenes.
Barry!
What is it?
Jill gets a little bit more story in the game. Just a little bit. She gets a few extra cutscenes than Chris. And she gets to interact with more characters. Like, Chris is just Rebecca and Wesker. And until like at the end, if you decide to save Jill and stuff, but he doesn't really get any interaction with Barry.
I found Kenneth killed by
And
this thing.
Sorry for the lag, guys. I'm getting a little bit of lag here. I apologize. Stay strong, internet. Stay strong, roots. But Jill, she actually interacts with Wesker, Barry, and well, not Rebecca, I guess, but then she maybe it is more even than I thought, but I just remember Jill has a little bit more cutscenes because there's kind of a B story going on in Jill's with Barry and her suspecting Barry of being the traitor.
Wesker!
Oh, I love this mansion.
Jill, help me look for him. Let's not leave this hall.
Good idea.
So yeah, so I remember that. I remember Chris being a falconer in the movie, and the movie, like I said, it was more like Chris was looking for his girlfriend, and Jill was kind of like written almost as the girlfriend, although she was, you know, capable of kicking butt, and she does do some cool things in the script. I just remember being like, oh really, you just made them a love interest? Like,
Barry.
I guess there's a little bit of that there that
No,
you that
nothing.
I don't know, especially like in
What's going on around
5,
here? I can't
but at the
figure
same
it
time,
out.
I don't know, I felt
Same here.
their
Chris
relationship
and
might be a
now
little
Wesker.
platonic too, like
There's not much we
more
can
of like
do.
a,
We can search for him separately.
you know, I don't know, like
I'll
a
investigate the diamond.
compatriot, teammate,
Okay,
warrior,
then.
respect
I'll
kind of
try the
thing.
door on the
They've
other
both
side.
been through hell together in this mansion. They both survived, and there's like a mutual respect. I didn't really get like a love interest vibe
Okay.
from them,
I almost forgot.
but that's just me personally. But that's, you know, sometimes how movies are. They're like, well, there's got to be a love interest, and that's always got to follow that formula.
If something happens, let's meet up in this hall.
Very famous line.
Okay.
You, Jill, the master of unlocking. That's just, I don't know why Jill, if she's the master of unlocking, why she doesn't already have a lockpicking kit on her. I don't know why Barry was holding it for her or had one on him, but whatever. Nope, and now Jill and Wesker
Wesker?
are missing.
Jill? Where did they go?
Oh, phew, a gun. Thank goodness. Yeah, I don't want to have to stab every zombie. I got lucky back there. But, yeah. And then there's some extra cutscene if you... I don't want to do it right now because I don't want to use the ammo up, but you can actually go and test this door a couple times, and when you open it up, one of the zombie dogs will jump in, and then it's like in the lobby here, and you have to fight the zombie dog again. So that's pretty cool. So as I was saying with Kenneth, the guy that we found in the other room, there's really no context at first, but obviously you understand that he's part of the Bravo team that was sent in originally, and one of the missing Bravo team members. But he's the medic of the Bravo team, who is training Rebecca Chambers. She's like the rookie of the Bravo team, and so it was her first day. She's normally, I think in some of the lore that she was supposed to be the medic for Alpha Team, but she needed some training first, so she decided to go on the first helicopter with the Bravo team so she can maybe learn a few things in the field from Kenneth. And then of course everything goes to hell, and she gets stranded somewhere over here with the fallen teammates. And then you'll see the carvings. The doors need certain keys for you to get in. I think this one is just locked in general with it's locked on the other side. So that's one of the staples of Resident Evil, is the fact that you need certain keys to get into different areas of the house. The man who owned this house, Oswald E. Spencer, he was kind of a nutcase. He loved puzzles and so on. So he hired this very famous designer to come in and design his house. And his name is Trevor, something Trevor. And oh no. And Trevor was like this awesome like designer, and he was great at puzzles and everything like that, and he was like studied puzzles, and so Spencer is like, okay, I'm gonna hire this guy who's like kind of a genius at puzzles to come in and design my house and put all these traps everywhere. And then what he ended up doing is he ended up trapping. He brought after the house was finished and designed and everything, he invited Trevor and Trevor's family over to the house to to like a celebratory dinner, to like celebrate the fact that the house is built and everything. But what he ended up doing is trapping Trevor and his family. Trevor had a wife and a daughter. He trapped them all in this house, and he used the puzzles against Trevor, and he upgraded some of the puzzles and made them real, and so Trevor couldn't solve them and get out. So it was a pretty scary backstory actually on this house. I'm just gonna save right now just so we have at least one save on this, because knowing me, I will get greedy at some point and get myself killed. So yeah, there's a lot of backstory in this that they kind of brush over a little bit. One of the main things is we're going to keep that there because we're going to use it later. I do that a lot too. A lot of puzzle pieces I just leave where they are, and I don't pick them up until I need them. Just kind of my play style. So this guy, this zombie here that we took out with the knife, he's eventually going to come back. That's the thing about the zombies in this game, is they added a new feature in the HD remake where you find a flask and you fill it with gasoline and you bring it around with a lighter, and it just adds more purpose to the lighter that they didn't have in the original game, and you can burn the zombies' bodies. Alright, some bullets. And, oh, great. Health. Ooh. Look at this guy. There's a corpse collapsed on the floor like it was an instant death. What the hell happened in this mansion? Yeah, and look at these shackles over here. This is really creepy. I mean, you just kind of wonder all the creepy stuff that goes in, that, happened in this mansion. It's really unsettling. You know what? I know it's going to fill up my inventory, but we can always combine stuff. You can always combine herbs. That's one of the best things is combining herbs. You can mix green and green, green and red, and green and blue. Blue will help you with poison. So if you get poisoned by like a snake or a spider, you can take a blue herb. That'll help you out. And then red only amplifies the effects of green. So that's kind of what... Oh, so see there? You can see the zombie's legs. His feet are red. So he is officially transforming into a Crimson Head zombie. And Crimson Heads are the super zombies. That's what I was saying before. You have to burn the bodies. And only when you do that are you guaranteeing that they don't come back. Alright, so I can auto lock on to this zombie. Alright, he's down. Even this hallway's new to this this version of the game. Alright, I can't carry any more items, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to take one of these herbs, get back to fine full health, and then I'll take that. And this is just a hint to say that there's more to that arrow than meets the eye. So that's another thing that's cool about this game is once you get something, you examine it. And sometimes you can find a secondary purpose for some of these things. So the arrowhead looks like it can be removed. Boom. And we got our next puzzle piece, which is pretty awesome. Oh. Yeah, no, I mean in the George Romero script, I think Wesker becomes the tyrant at the end of that script. And that's actually not too far out of away from the game, actually. If anyone's played the Sega Saturn version of Resident Evil, there was a bonus mode in the game where I believe you fought Wesker in the final room in the lab. Sony, who's just they love to reboot, and if they think they have a franchise that can continue to make money, you know, they'll drive Resident Evil into the ground. All we can hope for is that some filmmaker comes along that makes like really smart horror movies, and like something like Don't Breathe or Lights Out or something like that, and or even who's the guy that everyone loves right now? God, I'm trying to think of his name. He's made like pretty much all the horror movies for the past like 8 years. I think he like produced like Lights Out or something. Not Justin Lin. I think that's like Fast and the Furious, but whoever that is, that would be cool to get him on as a producer for Resident Evil. I mean, he seems to be making some pretty interesting horror movies lately, and horror's starting to rise up again. There's starting to be like some smart horror films out there. Like I love It Follows. If the directors of It Follows want to make Resident Evil, that'd be awesome. If the Duffer Brothers who make Stranger Things want to make Resident Evil, that'd be awesome. Although I think they'd be, after watching Stranger Things, I think they'd make a great Silent Hill. James Wan. Robbie says James Wan. That's the guy. James Wan is killing it on horror movies, like pun intended, I guess. And people are like he's getting a lot of work basically in Hollywood, and people say his name a lot out here in LA of like trying to attach him onto projects. And so he's kind of on the rise right now. So that'd be cool to see like in 2 or 3 years after he finishes. I think he's directing Aquaman too. That'd be cool to see like after he does like a big budget Aquaman movie that he's like, all right, I want to do like a small horror movie, and he does Resident Evil with like a $25 million budget or something. That would be pretty awesome. Roddy, I see what you did there. Yeah. Yeah. I'm full of dad jokes and puns, so if you don't like those, I'm not going to be one of your favorites. And yeah, Robbie, that's right, he's making Aquaman. That is correct. Which we can definitely get into, after we, wrap up talking about the Romero movie. We can definitely, any topics you guys want to talk about, any questions you have, we can definitely chat about that. This game, now that I've played it, I can I can divide my focus on playing the game and talking in chat a little bit easier. By the way, I love reaction. I wish there was one like that for Chris too, but I really love Jill's reaction that this zombie crawls out of the tub. It must stink to high hell. I mean, that bathroom must smell really bad. And I'm hitting some more. I'll chill out for a minute until the lag goes away. I apologize. Alright. Yeah, if I ever get quiet, it's just because I'm experiencing some lag. It's just my internet is I gotta upgrade it. I talked about that in my other streams. So until I have the money to do that, it's, you know, we're gonna hit some lag time here and there, but I'll just stop talking in case it's like cutting me off and stuff. And obviously if we ever get disconnected, just give me a few minutes to reconnect. And yeah, like I said, after we talk, you know, if anytime you guys want to change the topic or you have a question or anything, just let me know, because I'll be able to divide my attention pretty well now that I've played this through yesterday. Martian Cat in the chat says, get James Wan to direct and Lee Winnell and him to collaborate on the script. They do that a lot. Oh yeah, I mean, those are the Saw guys, if I'm not mistaken, and the Saw movies are a guilty pleasure of mine, but they try really hard to keep their continuity together, which, you know, I give them credit for. Like most people, you know, like don't give a crap about the continuity in their own movies. I mean, look at Transformers, for example. They don't give a crap. As long as they keep making money, they don't care. What do I got to do to trigger Barry? Because one time I did this wrong and I got destroyed. Oh, that's right. You have to try both doors.
Wesker! Barry! Help!
Jill, you in there?
Barry?
God, that was luck, right?
Get me out of here! The door's jammed!
Stand back!
Right place, right time, Barry.
Grab my hand!
That was much closer, I think, than in the original Resident Evil. I don't think Jill was actually like lying on the ground and being dragged out, but I could be remembering it wrong. Whew.
Barry.
That was a close one. A second late, you would have fit nicely into a sandwich.
Really? Thanks. But Barry, didn't you say you were going back to the dining room to find other clues?
You were almost a
I'm
Jill
glad you are,
sandwich.
Why are you here?
Yeah, I do a
had
terrible
something I
Barry
wanted to
Burton impression,
check.
by the way.
Anyway,
And
we
I
should
might
get
do it a
back
lot.
to searching for Wesker and Chris.
Thanks, Barry. I owe you one.
Don't mention it.
Ah, jeez. All right. Directional. Shoot. All right, I think there's one more. Or maybe not. Maybe because I'm on easy, it's just the two. All right, let's use these herbs over here. Yeah, you know, and it's funny because back when this first came out, I played this so much that I actually invisible enemy mode I beat, and there was like a couple other modes. There was a couple other modes that there were that are hard on this too, and that's how like much I used to play this before and how good I used to be at this game. Those days are far gone. I'm so used to playing because I've been playing Resident Evil 5 and 6, like the recent re-releases. I haven't gotten 4 yet. I'm gonna pick it up in San Francisco, I think. When I'm at Capcom headquarters, I'm gonna pick up a copy so I can replay 4. So you might see me stream that at some point after I get through this game. Because what the order I'll probably go in is I'll probably play this, and then I'll probably play 4 and 5, and then Revelations 2 over the course of like the next few months or weeks or however long it takes. Oh, you know what? I want to keep that on me. I gotta examine it. Nice. And then we got the fake key that we have to switch out. And this was one of the new puzzles they added for the remake. This wasn't in the original one at all. Urzatron says he doesn't stream, but he does speedrun this game. Ah, okay. Pretty badly. I don't know, man. You know your stuff, dude. But there is a lot to remember in this game. You're right. And speedrunning, it is an art all of its own. I mean, like the way I see guys cut corners, like, oh, dude, this guy's gonna get back up. Like the way you have to like hug walls, not fight enemies. There's just so many things you have to do right in a speed run that everything costs time. You can't micromanage your inventory. There's just so many things that I would be terrible at. I would be so bad at it. Oof. That was luck. I'm glad he went down easy. Seeing red, achievement unlocked. You know what? I don't know why I'm doing that. I could just, yeah, I'm, like I said, rusty. That would not be cool in a speed run. Go into my inventory to reload ammo. Not the way to do it. So yeah, this is one of the new areas they added into the HD remake, kind of expanding the mansion and adding some new puzzles in. So what we do is, old Indiana Jones style, we take this and we switch it. Boom. Hold on, Urzatron just dumped a bunch of knowledge on us. It's going to take me a second to read it. Give me 1 second. The Crimson Heads were created by the V-Act process, acting on an infected individual who has become dormant for whatever reason. The same process that created Lickers and RE2. The difference is that the labs beneath the Raccoon City were researching a slightly different strain of the T-virus from the Arklay labs. You can tell if a zombie is about to get up because it has visibly changed on the floor. The skin gets... Yeah, that's right. Yeah, you can tell that there's claws on it. The feet has changed. The skin tone has changed red. So yeah, you're absolutely right about that. So you get a little bit of a warning that you're about to get screwed up. All right. So then in here we have... Oh, that's where I'll put the blue thing. I pushed that statue off at the top of the dining room, and it smashed at the bottom. And there's a blue gem that it was holding. So we'll go pick that up and put that in. We'll probably be coming up to a save, an ending soon here for my stream tonight. I mean, only because I've died so many times and have had to replay stuff. I took longer to get to this point than I should have. So here's the most memorable, I think, diary for most people in the Resident Evil universe is this Keeper's diary. And so they talk about Scott and Elias, who worked in security, and Steve, who was a research guy, and how this Keeper guy doesn't like Steve. He's kind of a scumbag. There was a new creature, a skinned gorilla, which is something you will encounter later on in the game, known as a chimera, which is pretty cool. And they talk about how they threw in a pig and fed it. Here it is around 5 a.m. Someone woke me up, scared the crap out of me, wearing a protective suit, and handed me one and said, put it on immediately. There was an accident in the lab. So May 11th, 1998. I was 16 years old when this happened. So yeah, so there was this accident, and now he talks about the slow degradation of his body, how he has this lump on his back, and he's got a blister on his foot, and there's all these, and skin is lumping off, and he's in the shower, and some of his hair is coming out, and he's like, what's happening to me? Flesh is rotting off. What's going on? And then you start to see his his vocabulary get worse and worse. And he's fever gone, but itchy, today hungry and eat doggy food. Itchy, itchy Scott came, ugly face so killed him, tasty. And then itchy, tasty. Pretty crazy. So this guy, he's watching the slow decay of his mind in this journal, which is pretty awesome. And very scary and tragic.